This is New York City, over 10 million people, one of the densest, busiest places on Earth. But what happens to a city like this over 500 years? Using real research in urban planning, transportation, and technology, this is our best scientific look at how New York could evolve, decade by decade, century by century, from the year 2100 all the way to 2500. Some of this is already being built today. All of it is grounded in real forecasts. Let's begin. By the year 2100, New York doesn't look alien, it looks upgraded. The skyline along the Hudson has grown taller. New, super tall towers rise past 2,000 feet, and unlike today's glass boxes, many of them grow their own food. Vertical farms wrapped around the upper floors, feeding thousands of residents without a single truck delivery. Down on Fifth Avenue and Broadway, most cars still touch the ground, but almost none of them have a driver. Autonomous electric vehicles glide through intersections with almost no wasted motion because the entire street grid is coordinated by a citywide traffic AI. Accidents, once a daily occurrence, are now rare enough to make the news. Above the East River, the first air taxi routes have opened. They're still expensive, a novelty for business travelers skipping bridge traffic, but the vertiports on top of a few midtown towers are the first sign of a much bigger shift to come. Times Square has changed the most. The billboards are gone, replaced by building surfaces that shift and shimmer on their own, responding to the crowd below. Central Park has grown, swallowing a few blocks that used to be parking lots, now filled with families, food carts, and street musicians enjoying air that's noticeably cleaner than it was a century earlier. Population has kept climbing, but so has housing supply. The vertical farms and smarter construction mean more homes fit into the same footprint, easing a crisis that had plagued the city for generations. Work has changed too. Routine jobs have mostly gone to automation, but new industries in biotechnology, clean energy, and design have more than replaced them. New York in 2100 isn't a different city, it's this one, just finally catching up to its own ambition. A century later, the shift is impossible to miss. Near the old financial district, the first true arcologies have appeared. Single structures so large they function as entire neighborhoods. One tower alone houses homes, schools, clinics, and parks for tens of thousands of people, recycling its own water and generating its own power. The sky itself has become a highway. Flying taxis cross the Brooklyn Bridge's airspace in steady, silent lanes, while small delivery drones dart between buildings, dropping groceries and packages on rooftop pads. Ground-level traffic has thinned dramatically. Most of Manhattan's old avenues have been narrowed, with the extra space handed back to walkers, cyclists, and rows of trees. Building facades now shift their entire appearance on command. A plane tower can look like limestone and columns in the morning and glass and light by evening, tuned to the mood of the neighborhood. Public safety has quietly transformed. Networks of small, AI-guided sensors and drones monitor the busiest districts, spotting problems in seconds, not through constant human surveillance, but through the same kind of pattern recognition already used in hospitals and airports today. Crime, already falling for 2 centuries, is now a genuine rarity. In Central Park, now 3 times its original size, families pass afternoons the same way they always have. Picnics, music, dogs chasing frisbees. Some things about city life don't need reinventing. The economy runs on ideas as much as industry. With most physical labor automated and energy costs falling year after year, more New Yorkers spend their working lives creating, researching, teaching, and caring for one another. By 2200, New York has stopped fighting its own density. It's finally built a city large enough and smart enough to hold it comfortably. Something unexpected happens by the 24th century. The skyline starts to shrink. Not because the city is declining, because it no longer needs to build upward to fit everyone. A handful of massive arcology campuses, some over a mile wide, now house what used to take dozens of separate skyscrapers. With so much living space consolidated, huge stretches of Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens have been returned to nature. Where elevated highways once cut through neighborhoods, forest canopies now stretch for miles. Deer, foxes, and hundreds of bird species live inside city limits, in parkland woven directly between residential arcologies. It looks, in places, less like a city and more like a nature reserve with buildings rising out of it. Ground vehicles have almost disappeared. High-speed maglev lines run beneath the city, moving people across the 5 boroughs in minutes, while personal flying vehicles, no longer a luxury, are as common as bicycles once were. The harbor has changed too. Decades of cleanup and restoration mean the waters around the Statue of Liberty are clear enough to see fish again, something no one alive in the early 2000s ever witnessed. Markets and plazas throughout the arcologies are full, not out of necessity, but because automation and abundant clean energy have made daily essentials cheap, freeing people to spend their time differently, learning new skills, building things, spending unhurried time with family and friends. Public safety incidents are now rare enough that they're studied individually. The AI systems that once responded to crime now mostly prevent it before it starts, through smarter infrastructure rather than surveillance of individuals. New York, 500 years after its founding wave of skyscrapers, has quietly become one of the greenest cities on Earth. By 2400, the line between city and forest has almost disappeared. Arcology campuses rise gently out of tree canopy, their lower levels wrapped in living greenery, their upper levels catching sunlight above the tree line. From a distance, much of New York now resembles a forested valley with elegant structures growing out of it, rather than a traditional skyline. Personal flying vehicles, delivery drones, and small autonomous aircraft fill the sky in numbers that would have seemed impossible centuries earlier. Yet mid-air collisions are almost unheard of, coordinated by AI traffic systems refined over 300 years of continuous improvement. Daily errands are handled by a mix of people and capable AI assistants and robots, not replacing human connection, but clearing away the small, repetitive tasks that once ate up hours of every week. Around the harbor, the restoration is complete. Whales have been spotted near the mouth of the Hudson for the first time in centuries. The Statue of Liberty still stands, carefully preserved as a monument, surrounded now by clean water and thriving marine life instead of shipping traffic. Health and longevity have advanced enormously. People in 2400 New York routinely live active, healthy lives far longer than their ancestors did, a direct result of centuries of medical and biotechnological progress building on itself. Economically, scarcity of energy, of food, of basic living space has essentially been solved for most residents. What people do with their time is no longer dictated mainly by survival, but by curiosity, art, science, exploration, and simply enjoying a city built, finally, around human well-being rather than around cars and concrete. New York in 2400 isn't unrecognizable. It's still full of people walking, talking, and living their lives, just with almost every hard problem the city once faced quietly solved around them. 500 years after 2000, New York has become something its earliest builders could barely have imagined. And yet, in its best moments, it still feels familiar. Most of the 5 boroughs are now a blend of parkland, restored wetlands, and arcology campuses so advanced they generate more clean energy than they use. A few historic towers, the old Empire State Building, One World Trade Center, still stand, deliberately preserved as monuments rising above the tree canopy, connecting the New York of 2500 to the one that came before it. The old highways are long gone. In their place, rivers, walking paths, and open fields where children play, in spots that were once 6 lanes of gridlocked traffic. Transportation is near instant and nearly silent. High-speed maglev underground, personal aircraft above, and citywide AI coordination so refined that congestion, in the 21st century sense, no longer exists. Public safety is almost a solved problem. Serious crime is rare enough that most residents will never personally encounter it in their lifetime, the result of 5 centuries of smarter infrastructure, abundant resources, and technology aimed at prevention rather than punishment. The harbor is thriving. Marine life fills the waters around a coastline that has been steadily restored generation after generation. The Statue of Liberty still watches over it all, now surrounded by clean water instead of ships. People live longer, healthier, more creative lives, spending their time on art, discovery, relationships, and community, supported by technology that handles the rest. New York in 2500 is still, unmistakably, New York. The energy, the diversity, the sense of possibility are all still there. It simply had 500 more years to become the best version of itself. That's New York, 500 years from now, built on real research into architecture, transportation, and technology, imagining a city that keeps getting better with time. Every era on this list started somewhere, with an idea, a building, a piece of technology being tested for the first time, much like the ones being built right now. Which era would you want to live in? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more journeys into the future.